What's up guys, it is that Pentagon. I'm here again with another video, and today we're going to be looking at this part 2 of this Archipeligo raid I had. I didn't actually upload the part 1 publicly as there was very little footage outside of like tower fights and stuff that I really had to show, but I do feel like I have more to kind of work off of in this video to kind of just commentate on, so I did think I'd make a video out of it. In any case, this isn't my fight exactly, it is a spectated fight across the map that one of our allies was having, which, you know, was Crimson versus Gold, and I believe it's Azure, and they were having a crazy fight. These are usually fights I love to take if I'm on the side legions, which is, just attacking in phase 1, which is pretty common. I wouldn't say it's like immensely common, because usually the main 2 legions are the strongest, but in some cases you'll get some crazy good rally captains, garrison captains on the side legions that are able to make their legion kind of hold their own. So it does play off here. I will say normally, even if like you do have the garrison and rally captains on your side, you do lose in the field, which, I mean, you even see here, Gold is immensely insane on the field, but the freaking garrison captains, rally captains from Crimson is really tough. Mainly the garrison captain. If you guys know Z, you guys watch his channel, you already know this guy is the garrison GOAT, and that's what he's freaking doing here. He is the most annoying garrison in existence. But yeah, basically what happens is they push these guys in phase 1, and from what I understood from watching this, they were kind of playing with Gold like they were their food, right? Because honestly, they could have pushed these guys back to their checkpoint if they really wanted to, but what they did is they left these guys around the checkpoint so they could kind of just instantly attack them whenever they wanted, which kind of gave these guys the initiative to kind of push, get their allies down here, and gave them the chance to 2v1 these guys in a really advantageous position, which, like I said, is exactly what Crimson wanted to do for these guys, because it gave them kind of more of a reason to push, more of a nudge, right? Which honestly, I do think if they pushed these guys behind their checkpoint, they still would have tried holding in any case, or tried pushing this, but it would have been much harder. And honestly, I feel like this would have played out probably more so in Crimson's favor, and they would have been able to isolate fights better. Like, for example, they would have been able to dispatch Azure before Gold could even get over to them and really support them before they kind of got crippled. You know what I mean? I feel like that maybe is how it would have played out. I could be wrong in any case, but I do kind of like being more on the aggressive end, just so I can kind of maximize on like who I'm able to trade off on, whoever I'm able to focus. I mean, I did this in one Archipelago raid where we did push these guys back to behind their checkpoint, and basically what happens is they 2v1 us, but we were able to 1v1 one of the legions for at least about an hour or two before the other legion managed to start pushing us far enough to the point where we actually had to focus on them and actually start popping their towers, and then start kind of holding up at a more necessary area, if you guys get what I'm saying. But in any case, they actually held really well. The issue is that Crimson's facing is they're obviously taking rallies from, Azure behind the gate. But the issue with Gold is if they give up the checkpoint, basically they can't go on the offensive. And if, Azure doesn't have the checkpoint, they can't go on the offensive or even like really go through the checkpoint at all. So they have to take the checkpoint, and Golden has to get a tower down, which, I mean, as you saw before, they lost a tower, and they do try placing another tower, which in this case actually ends up becoming successful, which honestly I feel like Crimson could have burnt this tower. I was looking at it, and right when the rallies went down, I swear it went from, let's say 1 minute building to 5 minutes of building. And for anybody that doesn't understand how that works, is if the troops in the tower are dying and they're not filling it fast enough, the time on the tower being built is going to go down and down and down. And I understand the rallies were taking counter rallies and whatnot, but honestly, they could have popped this tower, but letting this tower get down was the death of them, because Gold was basically able to connect to 3 to 4 towers on these guys, and it just made it impossible for them to defend. Not to mention they already had the one front on Azure side, and they really needed to get like Z's garrison on one of these main more prioritized towers. So it was just like kind of rough on their end, and letting this tower get down was pretty much the death of them in any case. But in any case, this was a very interesting fight. I really love these Zone 1 fights, especially these tug of wars where it's back and forth, back and forth. You get these crazy 2v1s where they're just hammering down on this one legion, and this one legion's able to hold pretty well. I always love situations like these. I love to be in them instead of watching them. But, watching them is also pretty nice. In any case, what ends up happening is these guys do end up getting pushed back. Holding all these towers is just too much for them. But the thing is, Z's tower is just OD. Like, he's just too strong. His, his garrison is just nuts. So they basically can't pop it, and they just sit there on having one tower left, and it just gives them too much kind of leeway, too much leverage, and they're able to just push these guys, and they're just incapable of kind of fighting back. And I guess they just topple, right? Which mainly was what made up for us to just end this fight with a breeze on our end, because it just kind of secured the win for this whole event. I was like, damn, okay, well, this is going to be a boring event. But, you do have those events like that. It just is what it is. This was pretty nice, though. I had a lot of fun just watching it from across the map as a little spectator. By the way, guys, there's this UC alliance I was with. I don't know if any of you guys watch their videos, but it's a Russian leader or whatever. And I swear, I've gotten these guys in my Archipeligo raid at least twice now. One time in my Legion, one time in an allied Legion. And God, they got to be some of the worst players to fight against. I love their fighting style, though, because it's just so annoying. And I remember even when we had this big field brawl with Azure, right? And we were just kind of field fighting them for, I'd say, a good hour, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, not even touching towers. But these guys, and like, outside of just, normal running around the map, these guys will still do that during big field brawls, which drags a lot of the main fighters off. I really love the kind of disruption style where they're just disrupting how players are able to like fight properly. But honestly, I remember watching these guys, and they basically run around and, calls, I think, like groups of 10, 5 to 10 people normally, basically harassing people around the map, which is honestly super effective because not only are you just running around in groups, meaning that you're able to micromanage your marches better, meaning jumping between nodes, getting in and out, you're also all running your maximum optimal march, right? So everybody running, let's say, maybe a 4 million might hero, and in these kind of brackets, obviously there's still players who have stronger heroes, but when you have multiple people running their best march instead of, let's say one guy running 5 marches of, what might be 4 million might hero, and then the rest of his heroes might be 2 million might. In this case, you're able to just kind of play at your maximum. And not only that, when people are walking around the map, let's say running around with one march, you have this group of players coming to harass you. All it takes is literally them jumping you and having, like, let's say one march jumping in and out, running away, just kind of dragging the player. I don't know. I just like them fighting like hyenas. It's absolutely insane. And I hate to fight against it because it would be so annoying with how they can kind of just do hit and run strategies in groups together. Got to be really annoying to fight against. Love to play with them, though. Honestly, just wanted to kind of give them a tiny shout out and explain that. But yeah, let's keep going. I will say one of these days, me and Z are probably going to have a crazy showdown or something. That'd be kind of cool. Although I honestly can see us losing pretty hard against these guys. Like, I do see us maybe being able to hold our own, but I just like don't see us breaking that iron wall he has. It's just going to be really tough. We have fought him once. Or at least we were on the enemy side, but it was our allies who actually beat them, so we didn't even have the chance to fight them. But we did ally them at least like I'd say around 3 times, right? 3 to 4 times maybe already in Archipelago raid. So it's like the dice just keep falling in our hands. We just keep getting on the same team, which I don't have a problem with. I like teaming up with Z. He's a cool guy, but it is gonna be pretty epic if we end up fighting one of these times. And honestly, I can really see us losing. Like, his team's pretty good. He's got them really well built. They're super good at kind of what they want to be good at is the thing that I've kind of noticed is just, like, they're obviously super honed at like garrisoning, rallying, where I mean, like, a lot of teams are obviously focused on, make sure you're keeping rallies full, make sure you're keeping garrison full. But these guys do not care about the field at all. I mean, obviously there's some people who are going to field fight, but they don't care. They can have 0 field control and it's not going to matter because obviously they're smashing your towers, which I mean, that's a pretty basic concept. Like, I've had situations where we just ignore the field and we just focus on filling or rallying, but it's like these guys are honed towards that, which is just, it makes them far more deadly is all I'm trying to say. They're just built for that lifestyle. In any case, this is probably about to be the end of the video. I really do appreciate you guys for watching as always. I do hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be seeing you guys in the next one. And that is about it, and peace out.